name is Nadim Rizk. I'm the lead portfolio manager of the National Bank US Equity Fund as well as the National Bank Global Equity Fund. First of all, the economy in the US is pretty strong. The US economy is benefiting from both an energy boom. So the US is now a larger energy producer and natural gas producer versus a few years ago. It is actually on pace to even surpass pretty much everybody and become the largest energy producer again in the world, which is a huge competitive advantage. So to give you an idea, the US pays about $3 to $4 per unit of gas in the US. Same companies would pay between $10 to $15 in Europe or in Asia, which is a huge competitive advantage in terms of cost. The main reason we like the US market so much is that the US market is still to today the most diverse, the deepest, the most interesting market. So you have a lot of quality companies in the US market that you probably can't get anywhere else. And I'm not just talking about Apple and Google, but there's other pharmaceutical, industrials, consumer, global brand names, so the Nikes, and there's a lot of businesses that you cannot get, especially when you're only exposed to the Canadian, resource-heavy market. So it offers so much diversity and so many, very high-quality companies. It's always a good place to be in the U.S. And I say that going back 50 years, and I'm pretty sure that going forward 50 years, the U.S. is still going to be a great place to be invested. So the global fund is probably the most interesting product because it has the least constraints. So not only you've got Europe and Japan and Hong Kong and Australia and other developed markets, but you also have the potential to be in India, you have the potential to be in Korea and Brazil, which are also interesting and fast-growing markets today and in the future. Most of the work we do is based on company specifics, and we tend to, especially for developed markets, we tend to not differentiate between countries. So we don't say we want to be in Switzerland, we want to be in Japan, we want to be in the US. What we usually say is we find great companies, great businesses that are well run, and they happen to be Japanese, they happen to be Swiss, they happen to be American. When we find them, we've got the conviction, then we buy them. We say we handpick those companies. They tend to have much higher margins than the market. They tend to have much higher return on capital than the market. They tend to have much less leverage, so their balance sheets are stronger. They're higher quality companies. That has mostly reflected, or that has mostly benefited us in difficult markets. If you looked historically, when markets were difficult, when markets went down, when people lost money, the type of companies we owned performed much better because they had the capital to sustain difficult periods, and because they had the margins to sustain difficult periods, which was big part of the reason why we performed so well over the years. We protected capital. People underestimate the cost of losing capital. Losses tend to be exponential, so if you lose 50% of your capital, then you make 50% of your capital, you've still lost a lot of money. And so if we can, in any even small shape or form, minimize some of those losses, it would mean a lot, even if we, on the upside, perform in line with an index fund or ETF.